Now, if we can just go to the briefing of the 6th of July, and you've got the memorandum which we also made available to the committee. During the press briefing, you made these allegations: an organized crime syndicate, drug cartel is infiltrating the criminal justice system. Is that still your view?
That is correct, Honorable Chair.
Then you say the incident that triggered the disbandment of the PKTT was the arrest of Mr. Katiso Molefe on the 6th of December, who is believed to be one of the members of the syndicate. Is that still your view?
That's correct.
Senior members of the security cluster who are associated with the crime syndicate issued instructions without the authority of the National Commissioner for the removal of case dockets. That's a reference to General Sabia, is it?
That's correct.
A potentially corrupt relationship existed between an alleged associate of the Minister of Police, named as Mr. Mkhwanazi, and the Minister of Police, Mr. Mkhwanazi. Is that still your view?
That is correct.
A potentially corrupt relationship existed between Mr. Vusumuzi Matlala, who was awarded a police healthcare contract of over 360 million rand in 2024, Mkhwanazi and Minister Mkhwanazi. Is that still your view?
That is correct.
That a member of parliament used potentially classified information that was passed from crime intelligence officials to register cases against crime intelligence officials. This member also sent communication to the Minister of Police and requested him to refer the matter to an independent investigative body to investigate these matters. Is that a reference to Honorable Adams?
That's correct.
And the reference to the independent, that's a reference to the matter ending up with ADHOC that then resulted in the arrest of Lieutenant General Khumalo.
That is correct.
Then you also say unnamed prosecutors in Gauteng are part of a crime syndicate, which also involves politicians, law enforcement, that includes SAPS, Metro Police and Correctional Services, judiciary, and is controlled by drug cartel as well as business people.
That's
That's
correct.
still your view.
Yes.
These unnamed prosecutors, are they unnamed because of classified information that you have, or are they unnamed because you don't know who they are? Either you've been told who they are or you suspect who they are, but can you not share it with us?
Well, it is known who they are, some of them, but we cannot share because this investigation is conducted.
Does the same apply to politicians?
Yeah, well, we've named some politicians that are part of this, that are enabling it. When I mention the role of politicians, and maybe, I don't know if you want me to qualify this in some instance. Honorable Chair and members, I had spoken about Honorable Adams, I've spoken about Honorable Kolapanat, amongst others, that are politicians, Minister Mkhwanazi. But I must indicate that our leaders of society, which is the politicians, might not necessarily be involved with the bad things at the beginning, but because of the corrupt members within, they capture these leaders and they use them. And to extend that when the leader then is used, it either becomes aware but continues doing the wrong. If he's not aware, once this thing is made, is brought to his or her attention, and that leader is expected to pull back and then start asking questions. And a classic example of that is me saying, yeah, that Minister Mkhwanazi was new in the organization. I believe, I'm still saying, yeah, Honorable Sangol, that Minister Mkhwanazi was captured to end up writing that letter. But he doesn't accept that. He owns it. Yes, I understand. He typed the letter in his own iPad. The iPad that when he came here and the others said the information was deleted, because they went to erase, when the information was taken by the team that was investigating, gadgets were taken. The gadgets were taken, and when the gadgets were analyzed, the information was deleted. All of them are deleted. Minister deletes information from the government document. Gadget. They delete it. But as I said before, you delete, we retrieve. So we have the information. We know that indeed, he's right. He is an author of the letter. He wrote the letter. He typed it himself. He sent it to his chief of staff. Chief of staff sent it to the PA. What sits in the letter is an electronic signature. It's not Mkhwanazi signing it. It's a secretary that placed the signature there. The document comes back to the minister. Minister instructs that distribute. And the chiefs of staff distribute. We then feel, okay, that's how it lands to Mkhwanazi, because while it's distributed to the official email address, there's a private email address where the same document is sent to by the chief of staff on the same day. So I still believe, I'm still convinced that Minister Mkhwanazi was made to do what he did. He was made to do what he did. So it's many other leaders that are made to do what they do. But some of them, then they find joy in it and they go with it. But when we put here the issue of politicians participating, is because politicians become enabler. Because in the instance of the minister, is controlling the organization. For the minister to write a letter and stop the filling of vacancies, and suddenly a year down the line, we have no head of crime intelligence because of that letter. If the minister decides shut down this team, and the process is undertaken to shut down the team, that is to compromise investigation. Honorable Chair and members, when Khumalo and them were arrested, that entire CGI ops operation came to a standstill. Those junior members couldn't sleep at home, could not get paid, could not do anything because the money and resources needed to come from crime intelligence, and they put a stop on it. Honorable Adams is not here now. Millions of rands were spent by crime intelligence from the secret fund account between the time Khumalo was arrested and the time when they came back. That they are busy auditing now to try and justify before the Auditor General, when the Auditor General is going to come and audit. So that shows the extent of the problems that we had. So the investigation was frustrated by that arrest. Until they were released, allowed to go back to work, then they continue working. So without going into details, Honorable Ms. Kona Palnat, she's the first to get a phone call when a member of crime intelligence was arrested, Gerald Shaba, comes back from prison, straight back to work. The members of crime intelligence, because they did not want them there, they pick up a phone and they contact the honorable member. The honorable member is quick on the pen. She writes a question from Parliament. National Commissioner, why are you violating the court order? Why is this man doing there? What she did not know is that Lushaba did not receive the court order, which was similar to Khumalo. The magistrate was sober. He said, me as a magistrate, I'm not going to prescribe where must go. I'm releasing you on bail. The state did not oppose this. So go back to work. He landed in the office. What came out of that is an honorable member that writes a letter saying the National Commission is violating the law. You must arrest Lushaba. So this is just to show you how the politicians have been used. The honorable member can tell you. She received the response, but she was fed the wrong information. So she will end up with the stigma of saying she's working with the team because they don't verify information. You take it and you jump and you run with it. You know, I respect the leaders of our side. Honorable Adam sitting here, we still call him honorable. Despite the fact he called himself a thief, but we still call him honorable. The reality is, once they start getting involved as leaders on things that are supporting the rot within the justice system, working with the criminals outside, business people outside, it then compromise our leaders. Each one of the parliamentarians, they represent millions of South Africans, so we cannot undermine their presence here. Regardless of how they behave, they represent people. So we must respect that. I will still call them honorable, despite how I feel. But it's that which I want to indicate as we have it here, that yes, the members, the politicians and the members of parliament they still participate in things that they shouldn't participate in. So I will ask that they will have to pause next time they receive information, interrogate information coming before them so that they make an informed decisions.
What we also see in the directive, Minister Mkhwanazi's directive of 31 December 2024, is a reference to not filling posts in crime intelligence and the reference to the border police, border management. Did that surprise you, or is that unrelated to the termination of the political killing stars team, the disestablishment of that team? Or do you connect those three things? If so, why do you connect them?
Yeah, Honorable Chairperson and members, I think we're going to maybe when we SC talk further, be able to dissect the whole letter with those topics.
Yes, I'm asking you now because I may not get there.
Yeah, PKTT is disbanded. The filling of vacancies at crime intelligence and the border issues. On the first, when I looked at it first, what affected me as a provincial commissioner was the first one, the PKTT, because it operates in KZN, nowhere else. That's what worried me. I said, but why would the minister come and dispense something that is here, that I'm in charge of, without talking to me? So it is that investigation that we started doing, because right at the onset, I'm a disciplined person that wants to talk to the minister to try and establish, Minister, somebody might have fed you the wrong information. That's why I reached out to Ngabinde and said, hey, can you get the minister, the three of us sit down, so we can talk about it, so I can establish exactly what's happening. But instead, what I get, I'm being recorded as if I'm threatening the minister. I'm glad that the recording was played here. So you have to tell me as lawmakers that it's clear the minister is the one who instructed Ngabinde to record. Is that not a violation of the law? I'll leave it to you to advise me on that one. What should I do with that? But they record me because there's a certain agenda that has been pushed. The minister has fed something else. Had I called the minister directly, perhaps he wouldn't be here, because he would have realized what he's been made to do. That is wrong. So that's what was a problem. But the second part of filling of vacancies, I did not understand. But as I started paying attention to what's happening at crime intelligence, then I realized that it is crime intelligence that influence him. That minister must not allow these vacancies to be filled, because they're going to be filled by people that they cannot control. And I thought, okay, this is what's coming. But what about the borders? So when we link the chain and we realize there's criminality, and majority of the criminality of ours, what is investigated, that link the PKTT, touch the borders, because these drugs come from South America into the country mostly. Could it be that there's something to do with the borders? Until Gerald Mosikiti arrived here and she submitted this statement about their engagement with the minister, which made her realize that the minister is talking about the borders because the minister wants the police to withdraw from the borders and hand over this whole policing of the borders to the border management agency. So it's all these things that become clear as the time progresses that ordinarily I didn't know about it at the onset. But as we were putting it together, we were linking it with the drugs. But the latter, why intelligence, why the borders, we didn't understand. But as the time progresses, then we start realizing, okay, this is how all these three subjects are so important to the minister on the 31st of December.
Was this letter of the 31st of December 2024 also a prelude or precursor to you and General Masamolo possibly being arrested, or that your arrest was now imminent?
Honorable Chair,
you had the theory that you called this press conference on the 6th of July to preempt your arrest.
Honorable Chair and members, I've said it before that I'm going to invite you, if honorable members are not going to get to that, but it should be on the annex, the affidavit from BMA that involves that sergeant.
Yes.
That he had ran with the abducted person to Mozambique illegally. So PMA says so. That he crossed to Mozambique without going through the system. And he only came through the system when he came back. The statement under oath.
Yeah, you can refer to the letter. It's the Home Affairs. It's in the bundle.
It's in a bundle.
Yeah. Lot one. It's item 5, honorable members. No.
I'm not seeing it here on my bundle, but honorable chair members, if you do have in your bundle, then it's fine. I know of an affidavit that was this. Oh yeah.
Immediately
here's the Home Affairs.
after the handwritten letter.
Yeah. So this is a person that the team investigating the kidnapping tells me they are tracing this. They found Nangi and they chased Nangi to Mpumalanga to a house. The man is not there in the house. They follow to other addresses. They are told the man has crossed to Mozambique with the victim. And the victim was released 2 weeks later and dumped next to the garage in the north of KZN, next to Mozambique border at Mangus. And was blindfolded, he did not know. But the DNA of the victim was found in the very same house that is alleged to be burned, which is a very interesting thing. The DNA of the victim was discovered by forensic in the house that was allegedly burned, which confirms that the person was kept in that house. So it's a very interesting thing that comes with this session that is allowed to come here by Mr. Adams. Home Affairs says this man did not cross the border. The information the team says he ran with a criminal into Mozambique. Home Affairs says he didn't cross it. When he came back with a temporary passport arranged by the commission that side, this is how he was registered coming back into the country. This is a man that is a police officer who's been working in that border police for many years. It's a police officer who runs a funeral parlor. I wonder what has been moved with those funeral parlors between Mozambique and South Africa. I want the parliament to investigate such. These are credibility of the people that came here. But nonetheless, he speaks about the imminent arrest, a case I mentioned open in Johannesburg. Sinona says to me, he speaks to Nangi to drop the charges. It's a year later. I've not been approached by Apid about that. He comes with Mr. Adams to Cape Town to lay the same complaint that is registered in Johannesburg, hoping maybe there's going to be a different team. I won't be surprised if that case is now with ADHOC, because it seems like Mr. Adams has found a different way of making sure cases are investigated. But when he thinks that I'm going to be arrested, I would have been arrested a year long before that. But I was still there. The reason for me talking on the 6th of July had nothing to do with that, but it was the effort that one had tried to communicate, to try and find intervention. Maybe in our communication, Honorable Cameron will say, you did not present clear during the 5th of March meeting of the Portfolio Committee the issues that you were worried about. Maybe the committee will have acted differently. Well, we can take that. Perhaps we did not present it. But I felt that now I've tried this and I was afforded an opportunity, I've tried it. The minister is still denying knowing Brown and all sorts of things. It's clear something's happening here. Fortunately, the very same ADHOC with members that are inside ADHOC that are sharing information with me, I was able to know before Khumalo is arrested. I told Khumalo that when you leave Cape Town, when you land at the airport, it will find you there. And that's exactly what happened. When I got information from ADHOC, the National Commission, when you touch down in Cape Town, they're going to arrest you. The plan now is to put Sbiya as acting. So that's information I had to share because it was coming from the people that are investigating, that have been told, do this now, do that now, do this, because they had failed to get Sbiya at DPCI because of his age. And the next plan was, let's remove the National Commission so that it can take charge. Not because there's a legitimate case, but things were going to be alleged. But that was not the reason for the press briefing in the main. It was
Okay. As second opposer, little can we take Honorable Sangoni?
I'm sorry, Chair. No, it's just been bothering me a lot since the morning. General Mkhwanazi keeps saying that witness Mlojwa, who was brought here by Adams. Can I just get clarity? I thought Mlojwa was a public participation witness, or is that evidence that's still going to be led?
Mlotwa is from Mpumalanga, honorable members. Mlotwa, since his arrest to date, he has never seen the doors of his office. He's a member, has been booking off sick ever since. His last sick note was in last month. He's still been on sick. But Mr. Adams brought him in one of the corridors here of Parliament with a television while you were busy inside. They were having a press briefing outside. I think days before he came before you. So he was brought by him from Mpumalanga to come here. From after the press briefing, they went to the police station to open a case on that assault that he was talking about, which is the same case that was opened in Johannesburg. So they went to police station to open a case. Fast forward, he come and sit on this chair. So it's a person who was arranged for him to come and talk bad about Joram Mkhwanazi. That's how we landed here.
So the evidence is that Mr. Mlotwa would have used the procedural process of Parliament to appear. Because I think what is bothering Honorable Sangoni is that it may appear as though that he is a witness that was submitted to the committee by Honorable Adams.
Honorable Chair, Acting Chair, I will take that. I cannot prescribe because I do not know how the members decide on listening to a person. I like to believe that you are presented with a witness by someone else who brings this person to you, and then you deliberate and you accept the person. But for the person to come to you, be presented before you, he had arrived in Cape Town a few days before that. And public officer, a police officer who's off sick at his workplace, and his address is in Mpumalanga. So for him to travel from there, come here, have a press briefing, go to a police station, 2 days later is in Parliament. From the layman point of view, you might conclude that perhaps this has been part of the arrangement. But to take that, and I don't want it any way to accuse the committee for having done wrong. But what I meant to say, he came here and was accepted to appear before the commission, present his story.
Proceed, yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Did you want to make a follow-up?
No, Chair. Honorable Sangoni requested a follow-up when you're outside.
Yeah.
So that's what we're closing. That's why I was taking back to the SC. Now, Honorable Case is doing another follow-up.
I allow you to recognize her.
Honorable Matis, you are duly recognized.
Chairperson, your last day for acting. Lieutenant General, so you're saying that he opened a case in Cape Town regarding the torture,
I'm told so.
or his alleged torture,
I'm
rather,
told so.
a few days ago, before he appeared here.
That's correct.
And then he also reported here that a case was already opened in Houghton Police Station almost a year ago. So
That's
it's
correct.
all the same thing.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. We just need to get the case number and follow up on that. Thank you.
Yeah. Evidence leaders, you can proceed. If members eat your time at 1:30, you must indicate to me how much time you lost to members, and I will compensate you. It is their decision that you must finish at 1:30, remember.
General,
Yes, sir.
yeah, we were just going through the list of items that you mentioned in your press briefing, and at 6.8 you refer to unnamed judges, magistrates as part of the crime syndicate, which again also involves politicians. We didn't, do you have names for us? Again, is Is it what you know but you can't disclose? Has it been communicated to you that you can't give the names, or do you have names and for some reason you can't make it known to us?
Honorable Chair and members, at times I know we are in a country that is governed by the legislation, so we have to follow the law on things. That's why we cannot name a person if we have not necessarily arrested a person or have an evidence presented before you that says a person did A to Z. However, we have evidence that is part of the criminal investigations where recordings and documentations are available as part of the case dockets, where the actions of officials that are given the responsibility to make sure that the law is upheld are deliberately manipulating that. So a classic case that I'll put before you. I'm not saying that this is a person that I'm accusing of, but there's a classic case. Bail conditions in our country are prescribed, but the powers for bail are given to the presiding officers. So when a presiding officer abuses the powers that they're given in order to benefit certain individuals, the only recourse that a person has is to go through the prescribed legal process that might take time. So while you're undergoing that process, the evil deeds that are planned, they continue. So I'll draw attention to a typical example that not me, but the judge have said it, which I made a reference to Ms. Korabana, what happened with the release of one of the police officers that was arrested. The magistrate released the man and says, go back to work. But another magistrate release other people on the same case, and the magistrate says, do not enter any premises of crime intelligence in the country. Now, I'm drawing comparison from the two professionals in the same court. Why would they come up with those conclusions? Call it an error. But they've been to court to try and argue this thing. The very same magistrate doesn't want to listen to them, and he keeps postponing until eventually he wants to withdraw himself from the case. The magistrate, the court says the magistrate erred in coming up with a general. In coming up, allow me. The magistrate erred in coming up with a bail condition that the state did not ask for. So in that case, I'm using that as a typical example.
Yeah, but is that enough to infer?
No,
that these magistrates or judges who make mistakes, they make it all the time, every day. Everyone involved in the criminal justice system. That's why we have a system of appeals from the lower court to the highest court, so that mistakes and errors can be corrected. But my question is that sufficient for you to draw a conclusion or an inference that these magistrates, where one differs with the other, even in the same court, the same set of facts, that they are necessarily involved with crime syndicates or that they corrupt?
Honorable Chair and members, SC, I said the information in writing, information in recording of people talking is part of the investigation in criminal dockets that have been investigated. But the evidence that we're bringing to you is that typical example. Here is the team that is investigating drug squad in Gauteng. The team that get arrested on cases that you and me, you'll agree that at the first place, they should not even have been arrested. But they get arrested. As if that is not enough. This team is barred from entering crime intelligence offices in the country. Let it sink in, SC. It is a magistrate that exercises a bail condition that the state did not ask for. What does that do? It puts on hold the entire investigation in Gauteng. I told you, that these junior members are not sleeping at home. So they have to be paid for in accommodation, not a 5-star accommodation that has been alleged. But they must be paid accommodation where they must stay. They must get subsistence allowance where they are staying. They've got labor rights to work overtime and be paid. So they need resources. They're not getting this. Simply because the court decided that they must not participate in those things. I don't think if you get what I'm saying. Call it a mistake of the magistrate, but it's a deliberate to frustrate this part. And it becomes clear. So we don't need to say you have been part of this, but your action is assisting this. And I'm going to repeat again, see, maybe not getting me. We did not say Mr. Mkhwanazi is part of the syndicate. Remember we said that. We did not say that. We say he's an enabler for the criminality to thrive. We want to bring it to his attention. He does not want to listen. Instead, he's allowing this criminality to thrive by his action. So it's that what we are bringing to the attention of this parliament, that not to say that everyone that we've named have 100% contributed to this, but majority of them are the enabler of the wrong. So if people come to you for assistance and you help them, you are participating. Yes, the end result of a person to move drugs from point A to point B is to make money with drugs. But you're a police officer of the law, you hold a roadblock on the road. If a person says, make sure there's no roadblock and he gives you money, it doesn't tell you what the reason why you must not have a roadblock is, because it's going to be moving something. It just simply say, make sure there's no roadblock. Or if there's a roadblock, tell me. It ends there with you. And you do that. You share that information, there's a roadblock at that point. That's enough. This person knows I must not go that route, I must take another route. You are participating indirectly. So these presiding officers, we cannot say they're making honest errors, because we've seen that I'm not a lawyer myself. I'm a police officer. So some things just don't make sense when the courts or the presiding officers are exercising their judicial powers on decisions that they take. Yes, I know the recourse of that is to launch investigations. But while we're launching investigations, things fall apart. And what we're on the verge of doing in this country was to hand over the country to the people that were going to control it. Honorable Chair and members, had the National Commission been removed, for whatever reason, SBIA would have become the acting National Commission. That one I can tell you. Members of ADHOC that were investigating told me that.
Okay. Now, the bail conditions of Lieutenant General Khumalo, they were set aside on review. You don't have or didn't see the judgment of the reviewing court that set aside that decision, because the reason why I'm asking is that that court, if there is a written judgment, would have indicated the extent of the magistrate's errors, if they were errors, and whether they were honest errors or whether they were deliberate oversights or whatever. You don't have can't give us a reference to that judgment.
No, I do not have.
Okay. Now, if we can move on from there, we've dealt with the 6th of...
In actual fact, maybe honourable members who can allow me, I'm sorry to interject, let's see. A week before the court made that ruling, I had traveled from KZN to Pretoria, and I pleaded with my boss to allow these members to go back to work. Our legal head is here, he can tell you that. I pleaded with him. I stayed in Pretoria until midnight. And the National Commission allowed them. He wrote letters and he gave it to them. A week before the court came with the ruling. Why did I do that? It is simply because the employer had already cleared them. The employer had already cleared them. So I did not see the reason why they are not allowed to do their work if the employer have cleared them. So, but they said not doing the work long after they were cleared. So it was that what frustrating me. But more than them going back to work, it was about the junior members that were being frustrated on their investigation because there was no leadership to support them during that investigation. So they were frustrated sitting on their own after having sacrificed their lives in exposing this rot, but they were not getting the support from management because the people that supposed to support them were told or were barred from entering the premises of intelligence.
General, my colleague Advocate Mkhwanazi has just referred me to the to the judgment. I'm just looking for the part where the court criticizes the analysis. Yeah. No, what they say about the court. They refer to the, in fact, the last paragraph or second last paragraph of the court's decision. It's a single judge decision. The finding is that the court accords decision to impose the bail condition appeal against was made without identifying any supporting facts. It is arbitrary and incorrect and does not reflect a proper exercise of judicial discretion. So for you, this is an example of where a presiding officer makes decisions not supported by the facts, exercises the wrong discretion, and this enables the people involved, the drug dealers, the cartel, to continue operating.
Yes, indeed, Honorable Chair and members. It's a worrying factor because you can see deliberately that it's not a mistake. It's a deliberate act.
Okay. Now, just to get to the press briefing, just what triggered the press briefing, and what steps, if any, did you take to avoid having such a press briefing? Were you compelled to have one by circumstances, and what were those circumstances?
Yeah, well, Honorable Chair, I said it before last year when I presented that I had reached out to the National Commission. I tried to reach out to the author of the letter, the minister, within a day after learning of this letter. And I was not granted an opportunity. I tried again to reach out to the minister later part of the year. He still would not afford me an opportunity. I tried to engage with the National Commissioner to raise concern about this and to try and get the minister to sit around the table, and that was not successful. I reached out to Honorable Cameroon, and I think it was in February when I asked Honorable Cameroon to allow me to appear before this portfolio committee so we can talk about this. And I'm grateful to the Honorable Cameroon that he did allow me, gave me that opportunity. Although the meeting could not sit in February, there were postponements. I think it was scheduled to sit twice until it ended up in March. And we appear in March and we raise these issues, but the minister just dismissed it. And later I learned that there was a meeting on the 6th, the day after the portfolio committee, where this matter that I had raised was discussed, and I was not even invited to be that meeting. And subsequent to that meeting, there was another meeting in Johannesburg where they were discussing the same issues. So a lot of things that had happened, which I tried to inquire about. I wrote letters to Kumari to explain why the dockets were taken. And I raised this thing on the National Commission. I asked the National Commission, did you authorize these dockets to move? He said he didn't. And I pleaded for him to give me a statement to confirm that. So it was my last option to say, there are three arms of government, and all three of them are appointed by the people of this country. If we are trying through the executive, the minister seems to be supporting the wrong that is happening. And I'm talking to my boss to get through to the president about this thing, and I'm not getting any positive response. That means the executive is not helping me and the team. So then I moved to the legislature, parliament, hence the 5th of March. But what comes out of it, it doesn't seem to go deeper into this. And for me, I feel maybe there's nothing else I can do, because what I see here, the other third arm of government, which is judiciary, seems to be part of this chaos. You just read the judgment. So a procedure to judiciary is for me to write and take this long for an investigation to be conducted that will come with the result after a year. And this is quite urgent. So what else do I do? Let me then tell South Africans that the three arms of government that supposed to help guide against this wrong, it seems to me that we have failed to convince these three arms of government to deliver or to assist us. It was in that's why I cannot blame all of them, because Parliament can only engage with one committee out of hundreds of committees here. Majority of members sitting maybe didn't have a clue about what was going on. They will say if they were in that committee, they would have dealt with it differently. I agree. In executive, it was the minister that we were trying to reach out to, but via the national commissioner. I didn't go to the president. The president might turn around and say, but you never brought this thing to me, Mkhwanazi. So why are you complaining? But I couldn't get directly. I could only via the national commission to get there. So it's a frustration I have. The Chief Justice might turn around and say, but Mkhwanazi never brought this thing to my attention. But how do I get to the Chief Justice? Again, I must write via my boss to take it to that route. So those are all platforms that I felt in. This thing has got to a stage that, and I told the national commissioner, give these facts to the president. And the national commissioner asked, give me the content. We prepared the content and we gave it to the national commissioner, we were supposed to discuss with the president. And then we left. So when I was addressing the nation, I felt it is important for me to present this content. We can't wait anymore. That's why we presented it on the 6th.
And the role of the media, you had this press conference. It was prominently, very widely advertised. The example of Kat Matlala's tender, it appeared in the media, it was investigated. In fact, we heard from General Masemola, quite worrying, that had this not been raised by Minister Mkhunu in a briefing they held on the 24th of December, just almost a week before the directive, where he flagged the award of the tender to Kat Matlala. That was as a result of the media. Now we know, I don't think we need to debate that these media and media platforms are used for many different reasons, different purposes, different people, different agendas, different narratives. But will you accept that the media, together with Parliament, the courts, the people of this country, have an important role to play in addressing and correcting many of the things that you've highlighted that are wrong? Many things in this country have been exposed because we have a free press. You agree?
No, 100%.
Okay.
100%. I agree. I've said when we were doing the press briefing on the 6th of January that if it was not for media, the South Africans were not going to hear us. Thanks to the media that we could hear. Thanks to the very same media that makes South Africans to be informed about what's happening here. But to the extent that the bad ones amongst us do capture some officials of the media, we must not turn a blind eye. that we have the bad ones. I've raised some journalists. There's one typical example, and I must say, and I've said it before, a media house employs people. The journalists that are employed, some of them are in the pocket of the wrong people. One typical example is this: when a senior investigator, Bongani Mtakane from the Sunday World. I'm not inviting you to go and read Sunday World because they're going to make money out of you. But they've got a tendency of writing a lot of negative things. Here is an investigating officer. You might have heard of a matter of Calvin Matibeti that I'm in court with recently. In his office, I'm not saying him, but in his office, someone is asking for an ID number of an individual. They give the name, say, profile this individual, we want his ID number. They get the ID number. That ID number lands with this journalist. Here's it. And this journalist writes a media inquiry to the South African Police Service and puts this ID number and says, so and so with this ID number, explain his role in the police. We don't respond because we say, Popia doesn't allow us to come and talk about details of people. What the journalist does, he writes to the Minister of Police. He says, Minister of Police, I've sent this complaint to this question to the police. They don't want to respond. That's how desperate this Dagane person is. And to date, they have not published a story, but we have the media inquiry from him. So I'm just simply saying that amongst the media, they cannot be clean. If we are saying in the police, we've got bad ones, the media might be as bad as we have. So we can't say journalists are good. Media is important as much as the police is.
Yes, we've got bad people all over the place.
Yeah, so
media,
it mustn't be conceived.
Media all over, and as you pointed out, prosecutors, judges, magistrates, politicians. Our best chance and our best hope is to ensure that the good prevail over the bad.
That's correct.
And that is why your media briefing on the 6th was so critically important, because it has opened up what a lot of people have known and suspected for many years.
Yep.
So that's good. So, but you don't close down certain institutions, for example, the media, or restrict just because of that. You're going to always have bad media, bad press, bad journalists. I'm going to ask my colleague, Ms. Mkhwanazi, to deal with just to ask about an update on events subsequent to the 6th of July.
Good afternoon, General.
Yes, ma'am.
I intend to refer to the events dealing, or rather from paragraph 9 onwards of the memorandum, the items listed therein.
Good morning, Mr. Chancellor.
And in doing so, General, in that paragraph, you deal, or those paragraphs, you deal with an update of subsequent events that followed after you made the press briefing. And you refer to the establishment of the Madlanga Commission and the ADHOC Commission. Now we know in the Madlanga Commission, as well as this commission committee, you had a graph where you made reference to the cartel, and where you refer to the various role players that were involved in the implementation of the directive, like Mr. Nkabinde, Minister Nkunu, and also General Kalen. You had a graph where you indicate the respective roles that they played. I'm trying to get the diagram thrown up so that when you provide us an update of events, and to the extent that you can, speak about your subsequent investigations and the outcomes thereof. Chair, if I can just be assisted to have the diagram, there's Mr. Romano now, to just put up the diagram so that General Mkhwanazi can just speak to that. General, while Mr. Romano is putting up the diagram, maybe let's start with, we now know that the Madlanga Commission was established and this committee was subsequently established. You've spoken about your perception of the committee and that you've been watching the manner in which the witnesses that have been called, which you recommended and which other witnesses recommended. Do you have a particular view before we get into the issues, and did you want to identify certain issues that came out of evidence that were given by those witnesses that could assist in you giving an update on subsequent events?
Yes, Honorable Chair, I said in my opening remarks that while I appreciate the decision taken by the Speaker of Parliament to establish this committee, and also appreciate the President of the Republic from when he appointed the judge to preside over the commission that is running in Pretoria. But one being a citizen in the country, taking time through the media to watch the proceedings as they unfold, we get to notice what is happening at the Madlanga Commission, and we also get to see what's happening before this House. And the concerns that one will have, appreciating, as I said earlier, the long hours that the honorable members are putting into this, sacrificing your sleep and stuff like that, and interrogating facts. But when we see committee members that have a posture of seems to suggest that they are in a corner of Mkhwanazi, or they're in a corner of Mkhwanazi, or they're in a corner of Sbia, or they're in a corner of Mkhwanazi, and so forth. It is that is disturbing for me. I expect honorable members to keep neutral. A one person who said, I'm not saying that he's a good person, Honorable Souls. When one person says that person is driving a particular agenda, and I said to that person, Honorable Souls might be analyzing things in his own way, and it does not necessarily mean that is wrong. But when he's aggressive towards one person, and he seems to be praising the others, he then sends a wrong message. But allow the questioning of each member of parliament to go on the way they want it to present. But what I was worried about is that there are some instances where the honorable members will seem to be more relaxed towards a particular witness that appears here and don't probe it. So when I'm here, I expect the fireworks to come my direction, and not only the applauding what I'm doing. I might appreciate, yes, it's human to talk good about me and to show me that you appreciate. Yes, I appreciate that. But there are things that you need to get to find out. So you should not put back and ask questions in future. Well, you've done now, this is the end. But I would have expected in future that you become aggressive to everyone as you are aggressive. Honorable James and everyone else will experience that. And until we come and we present before you, why are we saying what we are saying and why are we doing what you're doing? You don't necessarily say, pass a comment of a judgment that you're going to put in a report. You acknowledge what you are saying. You pose a question, you get an answer, you take note. If that answer doesn't satisfy you, you get a conclusion and say, Mkhwanazi is smoking something here. Make a note. Don't tell Mkhwanazi in the face that, because on the outside person who's in a favor of Mkhwanazi, they judge you. So, and the person talks something that you like, don't make it visible that hey, I'm excited about this, what this man is doing. Take note of it, make a note of it, so that when you deliberate, when you're together, you are able to say, these are facts, this is fiction. And this is what we must do going forward. Then you come up with a report. So we must guard against that in future. That is my only observation that I had, and I thought when I have an opportunity, I'll address it. And I did raise it when the chair gave me the opportunity earlier.
Then, General, just with reference to that diagram, you provided us a diagram that listed some of the, or at least only two of the syndicate members that you've identified during your investigations because they were arrested. So my question is to you, is there an update on some of the investigations, and can you maybe inform the House whether, because when you came here, you came on allegations, and we understood that all of these things were still subject to further investigations. So what have you since discovered in relation to the issues identified here in this diagram that could assist the committee when it looks at the record And where could we find the evidence in support of that?
No, thanks. I think everything else other than the red dots that you see on the diagram involves those that's supposed to assist the police in making sure they bring the perpetrators to court and the prosecution is done correctly and the convictions are realized in court. All those other than the red dots. So whether you're a government official in the police, whether you're a government official outside the police, you're a private individual, you're part of the media, you're a parliamentarian, executive authority, on whatever role that you play, you're supposed to be assisting to catch all the reds that we see. But our frustration, honorable members, was that these officials that's supposed to help are connected one way or another with these red dots that we're looking at. And they play different roles, each one of them. So that's what we were trying to reflect on this screen so that you get to see that we have identified each entity and the role played. We didn't give more details. We were talking about journalists. When we say agents of misinformation as a typical example, that's where you're going to find the medias, you call a professor or a doctor or Miss Merity Haas. I don't know what title she moves with now. Mr. or Miss, she's not a professor. You find the Merity Haas in the black square. You're going to find the police organizers. So all these people that are peddling information, that are creating problems, they are in there because they've been used and they participate. We are showing the security cluster, then top right corner. They're supposed to help us to win. But when you have the likes of Mr. McBride, that Nkabinde came to confirm his role. Remember, he said, Nkabinde told me these things about IP. Nkabinde was here and he presented exactly what he told me. So, and now McBride has been elevated to state security. It is McBride that facilitates Mr. Adams' transportation with blue lights police cars to the prison in KZN through his cousin, using blue lights of the state. So these are the things that we're concerned about. We're highlighting it here. Members of this portfolio committee, this ad hoc committee, they know for a fact that there's a case on the Louis Vuitton. Mr. Paul O'Sullivan came here and said, no, I heard it from the media. The case of Louis Vuitton is sitting at IDEC, I'm told. Cleared or not cleared, but it was at IDEC. How did it land at IDEC? It's a question, because it was an IP case. It went to IDEC because it migrated with the IP members under Sisoko when the IDEC was formed. They took these dockets with them to IDEC. Is that what the parliamentarians wanted IDEC to do? It's a question. So these are the role players that we have in our mix. To date, you heard of the minister opening a case against me at IDEC, at IPIT. To date, it's a year later. I was told by IP, the minister complained. A week later, no, the minister didn't complain. The same head of IP, he goes and tells the acting minister, no, this complaint came from the chief of staff. He whispers. To date, nobody tells me about what's happening within Pangani case. These are the players, officials we have in these places. So we are trying to show the picture of who does what. General Tele is here communicating with Kat. He came here and he confirmed that. So we're trying to show that there are people here in our organization, within civil society, that are playing certain roles to allow these red to operate. Honorable Chair members, it will be one day we're sitting under the tree, maybe we'll talk, that the almost duplicate of what we know as union building in South Africa was run in the farm that belonged to one Mr. Mswati in Pretoria, where politicians will account, business people will account, the whole lot will account. Give the list of those that have made a turn that they've had to account, you'll be shocked. So when you have such, and we see that Mswati is no more, and someone else is taking over from him. The name that the media even afraid to pronounce, Steve Mutsumi, amongst others, and nobody says anything about it. It means we are allowing the bad to continue to happen. So we are having these red blocks. We are not saying they're the only ones. They are mainly red blocks. But what brought about the letter of the minister was as a result of these ones. There are many others that we still need to attend to.
Yes, General, just on that, because we've also been paying attention to what's been happening at the Matlanga Commission and also in front of this committee, and it does seem that a bigger network has been exposed. So would we be correct to say that it is in fact a bigger network, and there appears to be serious concern that, like you've indicated, senior officials in SAPS indicating that they fear some of the individuals implicated in the cartel and syndicates?
It is that bad. We expose, honorable members, the activities of law enforcement. Amongst them was Metro Police. You've seen what has happened with the Gurulin. There's even a witness that was killed. And who kills the witness, allegedly, is an ex-colleague of mine, not just a police officer, but a member of the Special Task Force. The person that worked under my command. I was involved on that Saturday arrest, assisting the team to get him. It is that bad. The owner of the security company that gave him a firearm reached out and said, we had issued this man with a firearm that resembled the caliber of the gun that was used at Witness D. Please come and fetch it. Take it to ballistic and test it. I hope and pray that it is the gun that was used, because if it is, then we have a serious problem. But I'm grateful to that security guy for coming out and say, hey, I want to assist. I do not know if this is a gun he used or not, but he used to use this gun. And the gun is an AK that has got a mounting for this aim point on top. For those nose guns, once you have an aim point on top, it takes a second to release that shot accurately to the target. So wonder why the witness D was killed. These are events that unfolded after. We might say we are grateful for what has been discovered, but we're also worried because there are still other people that are in danger as these things are unfolding. When you hear the general saying, we are afraid to call the names of certain people, it tells of the extent of danger that is out there.
Are they currently, and this is my last question before I hand over to Advocate Arendse, are there investigations against these senior officials that subsequently have been initiated?
There are investigations. There is investigations against Gerald Spear that I know of. Gerald Shibiri that appeared, did not come here, but he appeared in Pretoria. And there are many other officials that are implicated. Ngosi, such and Ngosi is one of them. But there are others that I did not know whether the investigation has been launched, and some of them recently I've learned. Typical example is a general that was modeling in front of you here. There's investigations that has been lodged because of the behavior and the things she said. I don't know if you listened to what she had said on the record with Gerald Spear when Spear recorded it. I'd like to play it here so they can hear the person that we were appreciating to be one of the other members says you ran a good opportunity of becoming a national commissioner. This is a typical person that was here that portray a certain image. He's one of us. I raised a complaint about that so that investigations can be done. And I'm told that there's investigations conducted. But there's a typical example of how manipulative police officers can be in getting their ways.
I'll ask Mr. Romano to play the recording, but I'm handing over to Mr. Arendse.
The Sibia recording.
The recording between General Sibia and General Sinthumule.
You can already play it there, or you want me to play it?
Do you want to play it?
I can find it.
I can also send it to Mr. Romano.
Yeah, please do. Please play it there.
Okay.
So this is, honorable members, just for you to see that everyone that appears before you, don't say Mkhwanazi is 100%. Honorable Saul says even Mkhwanazi got holes. I agree. We all have got our downfalls. So, but put a straight face, throw questions, don't celebrate, we walk out. You make your decisions. That's what I'm asking for. So Sinthumule comes here with their own things. And when she walks out here, she's more like a celebrity. And even some members are even thinking that, oh, this is a potential person. I removed her at Crime Intelligence in 2012. Nobody asked why. Just so you know, her history. So he's a person who acts to be doing good, but when she speaks to Spear, you can tell it is not a good person. When I presented, I said, I had experience of manipulation of resources of crime intelligence back in 2012. And there's not much change to date. Not much of the change has happened. So it's there are many other things that we might not raise, but yeah, we can talk the whole day. Do you have, David?
I've sent it to Mr. Romano. He's going to play just now. But just while we edit, General, you said nobody asked why she was removed or that you have in fact removed her from crime intelligence. Now that we have you here, would you be able to tell us why you removed her from crime intelligence?
It is all because of this abuse of secret fund account. Attending functions and parties, chat gatherings and stuff like that should not be attended. Using the money. Honorable Chair and members, in 2011-12 when I was acting, I asked the entire management of crime intelligence to move away temporarily while we launch an investigation. Unfortunately, I couldn't finish that because Jara Pierre came in and she put other people in there. There were a lot of wrong that we saw at the time that we're trying to deal with, that we didn't get to. There are many crime intelligence officials that are benefiting on the wrong. I'm sure the National Commission will have presented before you how Gerald Khan, the darling of some of the members in this committee, has been receiving payment on the lease of his own property to the police using secret fund account, amongst others. So there are too many wrong within crime intelligence been happening that we couldn't. So Gerald Sinthumule was there at crime intelligence, the abuse of the secret fund account and the resources of crime intelligence that led into a removal. Without getting too much into details about it, but I'm the one that removed it. And fast forward, she becomes the general head of investigations in the police. Don't ask me how it happened. I must say, honorable members, that clip is not in English, so I'm not sure, Advocate, whether you were able to, for those that can hear Zulu, because in summary, it is Gerald Sinthumule talking to Gerald Spear on the phone call that Gerald Spear recorded. And Gerald Spear goes to the Madlanga Commission and he says, I recorded Gerald Sinthumule because Gerald Sinthumule had gone to the National Commissioner and he said things that I did not say. So now that I'm talking to Sinthumule, I want to make sure that I can trust this person. That's why I'm recording it. That's what Spear said. So he recorded Sinthumule. And the recording, Sinthumule is the one who's doing more talking than what Gerald Spear is talking. And Sinthumule is blaming the PKTT. Sinthumule is rubbishing. Colonel Khumalo even said, me and Colonel Khumalo, I think we're brothers or a father and son. She made all sorts of allegations unprovoked by Spear. She voluntarily just said all these nasty things about all of us. And at the end, the conclusion, I'm not a closer person, I got someone to translate the words that she used at the end. I don't know who was she giving those, I don't know, is it what, mene, get or something like that. Do you know that word? What is the word that she used? She used a word, funny word, that implies that her own boss has got no backbone or something like that. I wrote a complaint to the National Commission to investigate this because you can't have a general that behaves like this. If Sibia did not talk about it at Madlanga, we would not have known. And she acted as if, no, she was trying to, she's an intelligence person, yes, she comes from intelligence. She can manipulate and infiltrate people. So she spoke to Spear about this thing long, honorable members, before these letters, I believe, of Spear. She was in support, 100% of it. She can't turn around and say, Spear wrote these letters, I didn't agree with it. But when you listen to her on the recording, it tells you that she was in full support. She even said Khumalo was moving around with Lucky. Lucky is me. Even Spear asked, who is Lucky? I said, no, Jerry Mkhwanazi. This Kumar has been moving around. Mkhwanazi was a driver. Mkhwanazi is this and this is this. Mkhwanazi all the way. This is the general that came before you. That's what I'm saying. Before you can say Mkhwanazi is a good man, listen to Mkhwanazi, take notes, make your conclusions. Because you're going to come and applaud Mkhwanazi in the presence. So you turn around, someone is going to walk in and say Mkhwanazi is this and that, like I'm doing now. So this is just a plea to the parliamentarians that in future, anyone is in front of you, trust them as the South Africans, trust that they are honest with what they're telling you, but don't show that much support in their face. Until you go back behind doors, you analyze what they were telling you, gather other evidence, you make conclusion. Then you'll know this one, no, it's not to be trusted. That's all I'm asking for.
Good, General. Honorable Chair, can we break at this point? And hopefully we can get the recording up and running. And then immediately after lunch, we would require another 30 minutes.
Look at the honorable member behind you. You can shake your head again. He's looking at you. Show him that you disagree. Honorable Skosan.
Chair, thank you very, very much. I'm just worried about time, Chair. I know that the issue of time, that we should not rush anything here. You, in your benevolence, you said you're going to give us 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. Now, I'm looking at the time, and I'm looking at all the members who are here. I know that we scheduled for 2 days, but we said we want to finish today. But if it means last time, some members complain about that we are knocking off, we are no longer productive if we are kept here until the early hours of the morning. Now, I'm not sure about other members. If they are comfortable, it's fine. We can go up to 4 o'clock, but which means that we'll be out here around 1 in the morning. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, I want you to break for lunch, and during your break, you will talk between and amongst yourselves. And then you will come back at 2 and tell me if you are granting the evidence leader a further 30 minutes. Yeah. When you come back, I need a report from you, honorable members. You are under the leadership of the Chief Whip here. When I make a decision here, I must make your decision. May you please stand up and leave the chambers and come back at 2 o'clock.